Okay, so we wanted to do introductions this time since we forgot last time. So I'm Clara. This is Dani. We're here with Arjun Gupta of The Magicians and Nurse Jackie and How to Get Away with Murder. Does that cover most of the main ones?
Sure.
Cool. And American Desi's. So
It's cutting out.
oh, now we can't hear you. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So we're going to be asking a bunch of questions.
Let's do it. I didn't get to everybody's last time. I really enjoyed everybody's questions last time, so I'm stoked to see what else y'all have.
Oh, well, thanks so much. So we have 10 more from the original set, and then we had a bunch of follow-ups that people came up with.
Of course.
So just to get started, the first one, we wanted to ask you about some sort of like larger career arc questions. So of all of the characters that you've played, who do you most identify with and why?
Wow.
That's from Cat.
Damn, man, starting off with that ill-ass question. I've been really fortunate that I've gotten to play a very diverse set of characters throughout my career so far, and hopefully that will continue. And I think that every character allows me to tap into a different part of me. I tend to believe in this idea that we as people have every color within us, and what defines our personality is just the colors that are most at play most of the time. And so, Penny allows me to tap into the asshole that's within me that isn't really present with me in my day-to-day. Whereas Sam got to a certain type of vulnerability, Sam from Nurse Jackie, and a certain vulnerability and a certain just like being really lost. He was dealing with rehab and addiction, and that, I used to smoke, and so there was like, every character just offers a different way for me to kind of explore different sides of myself. So I don't know. I think I identify very strongly with every character I've gotten to play. I think there are some characters that are more fun, and I think that Penny definitely is, for me, one of those fun ones, because again, I get to be, more of an asshole than I am in general.
Not quite polite as fuck.
No. He just. I don't know. I was just gonna say something gross.
Wait, you can't tease us like
Feel
that.
free to say whatever.
He not polite as fuck. He just fuck. You know what I mean? That's Penny.
Did you want to follow up, or are you?
I'm eating gelato too. Apologies.
Don't apologize. We would be eating it if we could. Trust me.
My dogs are being jerks.
They just want some love. Nothing wrong with that.
You a dog person or a cat person?
Dogs. I'm kind of allergic to cats.
Oh,
I'm still
sucks.
trying to understand cats. I'm still trying to understand, like, I understand dogs. I understand, like, the relationship and, like, the unconditional love. And cats, I'm still learning.
I think my cat just heard you talk shit, and, like, he's coming
he's
up,
right
like, right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Come here, baby.
Oh,
I don't think I was talking shit. I was genuinely curious.
I think it really depends on the way that someone raises an animal, how they're going to be. Like, my cat is the sweetest cat. He's right here.
Hi, cat.
His
See,
name's
from here,
Dobby.
you can't make me sneeze, so we're good. You know what I mean?
His name's Dobby. He's kind of
Oh, like
lover.
the house elf.
Yeah, like the house elf.
I see what you did there, Danny.
Well, he has white paws, so they look like socks, so.
I saw this funny-ass little, I don't know if it was like a meme or something, little story. Mom is yelling at a kid, like, go clean up your room, and so the kid takes off his sock and puts it on the counter, and the mom is like, what are you doing? And takes the sock and hands it back to him, and the kid's like, you freed me, I'm no longer your house elf.
That's pretty great.
Also, my dog wants to say hi.
Hi, dog.
This is Sora.
Yeah, his name's Sora.
Yeah. So, are you a Harry Potter fan yourself?
I am, yeah.
Yeah?
I read all of them. I love them. I'm
What-
curious to read these new ones, the
Ugh,
play when it comes out.
I've seen spoilers, and I hope they're not true, because if they're true, that it's not going to be a fun experience.
Oh yeah, there was an article that like spoiled everything. It was just like the entire plot.
I don't know if it was just a joke or what, but If
Well, it's
that's
coming out soon, right? So I guess
Yeah.
we'll all find out.
I think it's the 31st.
Yeah,
Harry's
on
birthday.
the birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So I think you guys have answered this before, but what house do you see yourself in?
Me, myself, personally?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know that one. Myself, I don't know. I could see it's the thing when you feel like you can identify like the expansiveness. It's hard to place yourself in one little place, right?
Our fandom is always like, okay, we have a primary house and we have a secondary house. We're very like
sometimes there's
that.
models and yeah.
I hear that.
All right, so let me ask one of the next questions. So what roles have you had that have been the most challenging for you, either personally or professionally, and how have they challenged you, and how have you grown as a result?
Yeah, again, every role challenges me in a unique way. I think that, I did a horror movie a few years ago that I played. This was called The Diabolical, and I think that it challenged me from a standpoint of there's a lot of stuff that you're witnessing that you can't really see. So, I'm witnessing a cop get his throat cut, and I have to act off of that. And that was an interesting challenge to, like, how do I... What do I need to do in my crafting and my technique so that I can bring truth to that moment? Because for my job is to always bring truth to imaginary circumstances. I think that when it comes to acting at this point, I've been doing this for a long time, and I think that the challenges inherent are the same in every character. But I think that as I'm growing, there's a lot of distractions that can come up outside of the acting. Being for me, this is my first time being a series regular, which means that, you're working more often than you've ever worked before. Or I was working more often than I have ever worked for. So, how do you have your stamina right? What do you need to do, like, at home to make sure you're getting enough rest so that you can bring your A game? Like, stuff like that outside of the kind of, like, technique stuff that you learned in school. So that was really kind of interesting over the last, the first season of The Magicians. And then, learning to work with different styles of people. You know what I mean? Working on Jackie, I was blessed to work with people that were, I was really spoiled. I worked with people that were professionals, like true professionals. And that's not always the case in my industry, sadly. There's a lot of idiots. And navigating how to work with them with grace and professionalism of your own way is been quite the lesson and a beautiful one, and I'm still learning.
So what words of wisdom do you have for, like, new actors coming forward?
Yeah, I think craft. I think that, I'm seeing so many young actors, and, now that I'm working on a show, I get to see a lot of guest actors come up and stuff, and I'm just stunned that people don't really have a craft. Stephen Adly Girgis, who is one of the preeminent playwrights of our generation, and he's a brilliant man. And I was doing a workshop, and he was talking there, and he was talking about, he says, I see myself as a craftsperson, and there's some faux humility there, and there's some, like, issues that he's bringing to that table. But there was something about that I really responded to, because I was like, yeah, we build a craft. There's a technique to this. There's like it's artistry, so it's still ethereal. It's not like, it's not like engineering where you input A and out comes B. It's not so black and white, but there are still techniques, and there's still a craft that can allow you to do the best work you can. And I'm just not seeing that a lot.
Yeah. Do you see yourself kind of like as a method actor?
I'm sorry?
Do you see yourself as maybe like kind of like a method actor?
I mean, I was just reading about Jared Leto and Suicide Squad, and I mean, that stuff seems a little like that's on some other level. Like, I mean, look, I respect the hell out of Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't need to be Abraham Lincoln the entire time if I'm Abraham Lincoln. Like, but I also, and I've been pretty open about this. Penny is different than me, and Penny is, he hates, especially in the beginning part of the season, he hates this group of people. So I knew that, like, the way a set works, we have, you shoot your scene, and then, while they're changing angles and changing the lighting for different coverages, you have 20 minutes or so. And during that time, all of our seats, we have, like, cast chairs, and, like, all of them are usually put together. And I was, I asked for mine to be placed away because I couldn't go over there and just be jokey and, like, like we're all having a good time together, and then walk back in and drop into hating these people. Like that's a big jump. So I don't know if that's method or if that's just me. Maybe it's some level of method. I don't know. I've never really thought to identify myself in that spectrum of method or not, but I'd probably be closer to method than not, I guess.
Well, I do want to say that Jared Leto does method acting wrong. So you're not supposed to be that person.
Doesn't. Well, he does and he doesn't. I mean, he does it. What he does, he does it arrogantly. And I think that so he takes it upon himself where it's his job to create the dynamic of the relationship. So I'm going to send bullets to people so that you're scared of me. Where that's not really. He did that. He sent bullets to like people, the cast.
I read about that.
And he used condoms and stuff. Like like that kind of stuff that's not method. You're right. Yeah. But like, I would be more method in the way like Forrest Whitaker's method, like Daniel Day, where they like stay in character for a lot of the stuff. Like, if I'm in a situation like that, I'm gonna need to be dropped in like that because I can't pull myself out and then just drop back in because that's hard.
So what are maybe like outside that framework? Like, what do you think are the elements of your craft? What makes it craft to you? You went to NYU, right?
I'm sorry?
Did you go to NYU? Is that right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I mean, look, I've had a number of teachers from a number of different techniques. I was studied at Adler, and then I also studied at Grotowski which is an experimental theater, place. And then I also taught at Strasberg, and I also have worked with Meisner teachers, and I've worked with Michael Chekhov. So I've like kind of touched on all of them. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just having a different, like, what tools can I use to get me, what's my way into this scenario? So for Penny, who is somebody that, I grew up with an incredibly loving family, and I've been really well taken care of, and I've had a lot of privileges that Penny doesn't have. So what can I do to drop into the reality of somebody that doesn't have any of those or didn't have it? Any of those. So whether it's physical work that allows me to do it, whether it's, me working with homeless youth like I did with my theater company, or whether it's me like really breaking down a script and really being specific and how am I going to personalize that. And I mean, I don't know how much of an acting class we want to get into in this moment, so I don't know how deep down this pool to go because I taught as well, so I could go there. But the point is, what tools do I have in my box? Whether it's like something from Adler, where I'm using imagination to drop in, or if it's Strasberg, where I'm using something from my personal life, or if it's Michael Chekhov, where I'm using something very like specific in a body way to help me again be truthful in that scenario.
Yeah, there's some similar stuff. I've played cello for like 25 years, and there's similarly like a lot of different schools, like some that are really physical and about like you always need to be paying really careful attention to your body and how it's structured, and like you have to practice the slide a bunch of different times until you can feel like in your muscles exactly like how much force you need to use before you slide up the neck of the cello. So it's really interesting. I think there's like
art. I played violin for many years. I played since I was 3, and
cool.
It's actually sitting right over there. I don't play very often anymore, but in orchestra we would talk about, it's at the end of the day, it's all form of expression, right? And we're always telling a story. Music, art, painting, all of it is telling a story. And how do we do that? And how do we elicit some sort of, how do we create the space for an audience to feel something? How do we open the space? And there are different techniques. There's even different styles. So presentational, like, in the olden movies, I'm going to tell you how to feel, and then you're going to feel something. And now we're in a space in this form of naturalism and realism where we invite feeling. So we create a reality that you can that triggers something within you. I think it's more powerful personally, but
yeah. Well,
that's a different conversation.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of what you're saying is that just requires structure. You have to create a structure for yourself to make that really work.
Yeah, I think that the fallacy of a blank canvas. I think that the fallacy of like is that freedom requires some structure. It does, which is paradoxical. I know, to a lot of people.
Have you seen, there's a movie called The 5 Obstructions. Have you seen it?
No.
I bet you'd really like it. I can't remember who it involves. It's the guy who works with Klaus Kinski all the time, and I can't. Maybe it's Werner. Is it Werner Herzog? Yeah, maybe it's Werner Herzog. I can't remember. But like, basically, like remakes this short film that he made in the '70s, and the director who works with him is like, okay, you have to have a constraint that you follow for each time you remake it, and there's 5 remakings. And one of them is like it has to be animated. One of them is like a constraint on frame rate. One of them is so there's a scene in this movie where you're like eating, where the like main character is eating this like really decadent meal, and he says you have to film it in the most desolate place that you've ever and like desperate place that you've ever been. It's really good. I'd check it out.
I will check it out.
Yeah.
You gotta give me a second because I just dropped my gelato.
Oh, sure.
When you're talking about obstructions, we have one now.
Okay.
Well, ask a question away. I'll clean while.
Okay, cool. So I think the next one we have is a little more Magicians focused. What were your favorite scenes to film in season 1? And is there anything especially that you're especially excited about for season 2?
Well, I'm super excited what they have in store for me in my hands. I'm not going to tell you nothing.
Well,
they have some dope ideas. I'm sorry I'm not looking at y'all. I'm genuinely trying to clean this gelato before it fucks up my floor. Yeah, that's season 2, right? They got some. It's going to be really fun. We have Chris Fisher, who's our new producing director. Scott Smith did an amazing work, but we have somebody new this year, and he's got some really cool, amazing ideas for what he has in store for what we want to create, and I'm really excited for us to kind of implement some of that stuff. You know, we were rookies. We were all rookies. It was the first season, so now we get to come back and see it second season, and we get to, you know, learn from our mistakes and learn how to like just make it tighter and better, even better show for y'all. Scenes that I loved in season 1. Man, there were so many. I'm flashing to the Netherlands stuff was really crazy. I mean, it was like crazy because stuff y'all wouldn't even notice. There was a lot of rain towards the end of that season for us. Like Vancouver was crazy rain. Like, and I didn't know how these cats were going to work in it, but it was remarkable at what we were able to do. I had a lot of fun with me and Jason. Had a lot of fun with when we were together in the haunted house.
Yeah, that was an amazing episode.
It was just him and I, and like I just remember that we couldn't stop. Poor crew. It was one of the times where we just couldn't stop breaking. We would start a scene and him and I would just die laughing, and we'd have to like stop and go back, and he would trip or he would do something retarded, and I would just start laughing, or stupid. Sorry, whatever. We were like, So those were probably some of the scenes off the top that I'll just mention in this moment.
Cool.
I loved that episode. Like, it reminded me of like American Horror Story somewhat. And I love that show, so I was like super into it. It actually reminds me, I was gonna ask later on, I was like, do you believe in like paranormal activity? Is that like something that you believe in?
Yeah, that's a good question. Someone actually asked me that on Twitter the other day. I haven't gotten to respond to it, but do I believe in yeah. I believe that there are things that I don't really know about. You know, I feel like there's a lot in the world. There's like forces and things at play, and I'm not ever going to be arrogant to believe that I know what's up. Do I believe in ghosts specifically? I don't know. I don't know what they look like. I don't have a specific like viewpoint as into poltergeists. I don't get really specific with my thoughts because I try to live in that space of unknown. But yeah, I believe in magic. I believe in energy. I believe in, you know, Marianne Williamson, who is my favorite and who I've spoken about a lot about, you know, there's a quote of hers that is my guiding light, but she talks about miracles, and she talks about that miracles are when we make someone smile, when like when we act from a place of love, that's a miracle. So I think sometimes for me, these words that we use in like supernatural or far off ways, I like to bring them into how it relates to the day to day.
So since you mentioned the Netherlands, can I tell you a really we had a like 5-hour Magicians pun war on our chat like 3 days ago.
Pun war?
Pun.
Yeah,
we called it so waffly punny.
Okay.
Can I tell you a really bad joke?
Please.
All right. What's the most popular TV show in the Netherlands?
Too many cooks.
Law and Order, Liminal Intent.
Law and Order. What is it?
Law and Order, Liminal Intent.
Oh wow. Yeah. Wow. You guys went in. That's yeah. All right,
terrible.
Cool. It's not great. I mean, it's a good pun.
We had too much. We were like going way too far in with these puns.
We had a little too much pun.
No, oh wow. Hey, so I gotta go. That was a good talk.
All right, we'll get back on track. Okay, so you travel a lot, and Killy wants to know what kinds of things matter to you most when you travel, and how do you go about planning what you're going to do and see?
Killy. That's it. That's all. That's my answer. Where do I think about? What was the question again?
Yeah. So, what kinds of things matter to you when you travel, and how do you go about planning what you do and see?
So for me, it's always I want to go someplace different. I want to go someplace that feels, as I'm talking about, the theme of this conversation so far seems to be expansiveness. And so for me, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go that's going to expand my horizons? And that tends to be places that are not Western. You know, I love Europe and I'd love to go back and appreciate that in certain ways. But my priority are to go places like that are not Western. I'll be honest, my first thought is always India because I have a lot of family over there, and my grandmother, my nani, lives out there, and you know, I'm very close with her. I also have my best friend who lives out in India, so there's a lot of reasons for me to always go to India first. But then, as soon as that, it's like, where am I going to go that's going to be, you know, fun and different? So Cuba had been a dream of mine for years. I'd wanted to go to Cuba for a really long time, and so that one kind of just like, it was like, yo, just bite the bullet, like this is the time to go. And then how do I decide what I want to do? I like to wander a lot. I like to wander around the streets. I like to have a basic plan, but then really kind of just go with what happens when I get there. And I don't know that I'm an adventure traveler, but I do I appreciate like, let's go off the bat. Let's just go. I travel with a buddy of mine a fair amount. He travels a bit more than I do, and when we were in Cuba, we did this one city. He said, I like to go to the highest point. I find the highest point in any city that I go to, and we go there first, and then it just gets us perspective of the space. And so we did that in Trinidad when we were down in Cuba. I mean, I use the guidebooks to look and see what's cool, because I mean, people like let's crowdsource a little bit. You know what I mean? There are people who have done them, not reinventing the wheel. But yeah, it's just about wandering, man. Just get lost in a city and get immersed. I like to do a lot of stuff that the locals do. I try to go places where I can speak the language a little bit at least.
So
to like dive in.
What languages do you speak?
I speak Hindi and Spanish, conversationally in both. I'm learning French a little bit. I can't even really say that. Nah, I'm not going to say that yet.
I'm on that journey. I'm 4% fluent, according to my app.
Congratulations. 4% is better than 0, Dani.
I took 7 years of French, so. But I'm not very good. It was mostly French.
And it's about immersion. It's about practice, though. It was wild. Like, you know, I studied Spanish for many years, and when it was high school, though. And, I mean, I would live in New York, and so you'd get opportunity to practice it in New York as well. But, I mean, being in Cuba and just immersing myself there for the 10 days that we were there, I mean, I was speaking Spanish constantly because no one speaks English that much over there. So
yeah, it's crazy how quick like it comes.
Do they speak French in where you guys are in that part of Canada?
I'm sure some people do, but Vancouver is not French Canadian in that way.
Yeah, it's more in the east, right?
I think.
Toronto.
I don't know Canada that well. Like Montreal and Quebec, which it's further east.
Yeah. Have you been to Turkey?
I have actually. I've passed through Turkey. I can't say that I spent enough time there. I was in Istanbul for a couple days, but that's it. I love Istanbul. What I did learn of Istanbul is beautiful.
I lived there for 2 months last year, and it was like the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, man, I can't stress enough. I mean, I finally learned what a pinned tweet was like a little while ago. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so I pinned a tweet from Cuba. I was just like, travel is the most important thing you can do. And travel, people oftentimes think is like just something grand and romantic and exotic. And yes, it can be, but it also can just be to a new restaurant down the street or like to a new neighborhood in your town. Again, anything that pushes your boundaries and pushes you out of your comfort zone, I think I'm going to take a moment of advocacy and recommend that to you all.
All right. So the next one I have on here is from Jen, who's Elliot Waugh on the RP.
What up, Jen? Elliot Waugh. You guys, those RPs killing it. Killing the game.
They have a lot of fun. Who are you on the RP?
I'm Katie, but I'm terrible at it. I'm just gonna be honest, and like I suck at getting on there and actually doing it.
So Jen asks, how do you relate to Penny? Do you think you're more like book Penny or show Penny?
Yeah, so I'm not somebody I actually, and this is, I seem to be the only person that feels this way, but I don't feel like there's that much of a difference. I mean, I know that there's a physical difference. You know, I'm not moon-faced, but I think that when we look at who Penny is in the books, I think there are essential qualities that are the same. And I think that, you know, I remember with Magali Guidashi, our costume designer, when I went in for that first costume fitting, you know, we were talking about what is the essence of a punk, and punks nowadays aren't like mohawk, and that's not edgy anymore. That's not what pushes the boundaries. That's not what the reality of the world is. So I think that and she, in combination with who I was, it was like, oh, it's more of the gypsy. It's more of the it's more of that. So I still think that there's like an essential rejection of authority that was at the play, and somebody that's like, if you really look at why book Penny, we don't get to dive into William's Penny story in the book that much, you know what I mean? So it's very cursory. So I feel like it's just a fleshed out version. I don't know if that answers the question.
I would have loved to have seen Penny's point of view at some point in like one of the later books. Would have been nice.
I feel like when he goes off to Maine in the book.
Yeah, or just any of them would have been nice. Like his journey, no spoilers in like the next books. What was I gonna say? Oh, I feel.
Are you telling me that there are people in y'all's chat that haven't read all 3 books?
We're working on it.
Yeah, right. Trust me, we're very like disappointed in them as well.
Oh,
I have like 3 friends that like best friends that like haven't read it, and I just like don't want to talk to them sometimes.
Well, I think the really cool thing that like a lot of people came in through the show, so we tried to put a like fan group like we have now together before the show came out, and it just didn't really stick. Like nobody ever showed up in the chats. And then a month before the premiere, I posted the link to the current chat, and now we have like 70 regular participants.
Wow.
We have a separate chat for spoilers, so if you want to talk about spoilers, you go into that chat.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's active.
Well, I mean, I guess the fortunate thing is that, like, even if you know what's going to happen in the book, we are still going to surprise you. So you can spoil away from a book standpoint because... True. We do to flesh out. I mean, look, Penny's entire storyline is pretty fleshed out by us in the show. It's not, you know, we take things from the book, we take an essential, and then there's just a kernel. It's like a little seed in the book, and we get to kind of water it and let it grow.
You have the destination, but you get to make the route.
Well, and Penny doesn't get as much airtime in the books as he does in the show, which I think is really great. It's great to see more of this character and not just Quentin's point of view of him.
I don't think anybody except for Quentin, I mean, all of us, yes, that's true, and selfishly it's great for me, let's be honest. But a lot of the characters in the book, I mean, the books are really centered around, you know, Quentin and, to a lesser degree, Julia and Alice. And even with those 2, we're getting to flesh out even more, which is really exciting. It's a very we've become, you know, our show's very ensemble, which is nice. Yeah. Even Elliot, I mean, Elliot and I'm excited. Y'all are gonna love like the stuff they have planned in season 2 for all the characters they're fleshing out is really great. But wait till February.
February.
Right, so
February. I thought it was January.
I think like end of January, right? We premiered January 25th, so maybe end of Jan, early Feb. Man, I'm not gonna talk like I know what time. They don't.
All right. They said January, but they didn't give a date.
So I got one for you.
Please.
You posted a picture of you practicing tuts for season 2.
Yeah.
Penny doesn't have any hands.
Right.
What's up with that?
I can't tell you.
Oh, come on!
I told you you wouldn't.
Also, like, season 2, who knows what's going to happen? Does that mean I'm going to get my hands back? Does that not mean I'm going to get my hands back? Or was that just a really creative photo opportunity for Instagram?
All right, well, show us your tuts. Show us your tuts.
No, I'm not going to show tuts.
Aww.
Frankly, because I need to spend some time practicing them before
Okay. All right, what's next? How would you describe Penny's relationship with Alice, and what do you think makes their friendship work?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really, it's an exciting one in the books. I mean in the show. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have my. There'll still become a time when I get to throw out my theory of their relationship, but I think that it's one of the few that's really born out of pure respect. And I think that there's, I think that Penny sees himself as I've said before, as a hawk amongst pigeons, and I think that when he sees Alice, he's like, "Yo, this is another hawk." Like, and I think there's, there's that saying, man, real recognizing real, yo. There's a little bit of that, and I feel like they have a deep connection, and I think they have there's a deep care for what they're each capable of doing, and I think that Penny really sees who Alice can be and who she's not letting herself be, and I think that to him is crazy, because he's like, yo, you are, you could be one of the most powerful people in the world, just stop being a fucking idiot. And so he tells her that. So I don't know, I mean, there's these interesting avenues through which we get to see Penny being caring, and that's nice.
Sorry, cat distraction.
Oh, good. I don't know what else to say about it. I think that it's a deep relationship. I think that it's an unresolved, I hope it's unfinished. Cool. On some level.
All right, so next one. This is also from Killy. Do you think
killing the game? Killy killing the game.
Always killing the game. She has like at least 1,000 questions that she could ask you on her own time.
That's true. She sent us a list of like 40 something.
There you go, Kelly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they selected some.
So, do you think Penny and Katie's relationship will ever heal? And do you think Penny will ever let anyone else in?
Yeah, I don't know the answers to those. I mean, I think that that's really the question, right? I mean, I think that, Katie got somebody who has a deep inability to be vulnerable and feel finally safe enough to do that, and then she betrays. And there's no other real way around it. There's no real, from Penny's perspective, right? The audience gets a different perspective because they know the other side of the story. But for Penny and his perspective and my perspective, it's betrayal. It's pure betrayal. And I don't know. I don't know if it will heal. I don't know if it can heal. And regarding letting somebody else in, I think that that's going to be, the ongoing question for Penny when it comes to relationships. Can I? How do I? Can I? Will I? Do I want to? I think those are all the things that are at play.
Yeah. That's great. So this one is also from Killy. Excuse me. What do you hope fans have taken away from the first season?
Ooh. A lot.
She's got good questions.
What do I hope fans have taken away from the season? I think that this is one of those opportunities that I'm going to turn around and feel like, what have fans taken away from the first season? What have they taken away? I think there's so many things that we unpack in the first season. I mean, we deal with a lot.
Gesundheit.
Thanks. I think that Okay, what I would love for people to take away from the show itself is that this isn't just a show. Like, this isn't just a fantasy. I think that what Lev does with the books is take fantasy to make us confront real life, and I think that we as a show are trying to do the same. So that's one thing that I'd like people to take away. And two, I guess for me the biggest theme for the book is the love story between every character and themselves, and that is the thing that allows people to be the hero that they want to be, or be everything they want to be, is to finally get acceptance of who you actually are. And once that happens, what true power that is and what that can allow for you to do.
That's great. All right, so I got one more of the original questions, and then Danny's going to ask you a bunch of like rapid fire. Okay. So the last one here is, how do you practice social justice in your everyday life, and how do your beliefs impact your acting?
Yeah. Okay. How does social advocacy, justice? I volunteer as much as I can. That's a big thing. I run a theater company called Ammunition Theater Company that is predicated on creative activism, and so in and of itself, everything that we do at that company is geared towards, community engagement, bringing awareness to community. And it's not always like making some sort of change. Sometimes it's about like, let's open up a conversation, and that can allow for change, creating space. Also, I don't know if this is really a social justice thing at all, but I know it's a part of my projects is with my podcast, where we explore creating a platform for fellow South Asians to explore and have a space to talk and talk about identity and talk about the issues that maybe they haven't had a chance to, or a space to talk about. And then finally, I am the brand ambassador for this organization called Uplift Humanity India. And so they, actually their volunteers are heading out this week. And when I'm in India next, I'm going to go check out some of their centers, but, help bringing awareness to the kind of work they're doing to change the experience of juveniles in India, but also how they're creating better leaders for our future.
Awesome. So I'm just... yeah.
Sorry, there was a second part. How do I think my beliefs impact my acting?
Yeah.
I think that it's at the core of my beliefs that art is service. So for me, just the simple thing of let me honor somebody's story. I take immense responsibility that I'm representing somebody. I'm representing somebody's story, even if it's in a fantasy, even if it's in that kind of realm. I'm representing for Penny somebody who's got kicked out of their home and didn't grow up with a family. So it's my responsibility that there are people out there that are that have that story, and that is my responsibility to treat that with the respect it deserves. I remember one of the most impactful moments I had walking around New York with the showrunner of Nurse Jackie, and we walked into this flower store, and this guy, he saw me, recognized me from the show, and he got very overwhelmed because he said, I've never seen addiction and recovery portrayed with the nuance and truth that Nurse Jackie did, and to be able to stand next to the person who created the show and was writing it and have her be witness to that was really moving for me, because it was Liz Brixius and Linda and those guys that were creating that show, but I was with Liz and she was a monumental part of that show. That's what we believe in. I've had mentor Anna Devere Smith is still a mentor of mine and a friend of mine, and just like our responsibility as storytellers, and what stories are we telling, and what is our responsibilities as artists to have an impact. So it's constantly a part of my life.
That kind of experience must be really humbling, with meeting someone who has lived.
So humbling. It's again, it puts in perspective, what we can do and the kind of impact we can have as artists, and then therefore, it inspires you to keep doing more. Yeah. And keep being, and again, going back to work ethic, and not to throw a bunch of actors under the bus, but I'm going to throw them under the bus, man, because I just don't think that people are trained to think like this and to really understand the power of what they're about to embark upon. I mean, which is why all this whitewashing is unconscionable to me, because they're forgetting the impact. When Ridley, I think it was Ridley Scott, was Exodus. when he was like, well, I don't get the movie made without, white guys as my leads. It's just like you forget, like, you can get the movie made, but also like what that's going to mean for different people to be. I don't know. I'm not going to be eloquent at this moment, but these are the kind of things that it reinforces for me.
I really liked what you said. I can't remember the name of the podcast, so you'll have to remind me. But that podcast you posted where you were talking to somebody who you went to NYU with, and
Karsh.
Right, and you're talking about how you don't watch movies that only have white actors anymore. And I think that's really good and really powerful, and like I think that's the modern day boycott. That's the only way that you can get change accomplished.
Sure. I think that it's just I have nothing. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I thought what you said was really great, so I'm glad you said it.
I mean, it's getting to that point for me, like, as somebody who's a part of the LGBT community, like, they're killing off
Pride today.
They're killing off people constantly, and it's just like I just can't watch anything where they're just killing off queers constantly. It's just not something I want to watch.
Yeah,
I have to say one of the things we've really struggled with about the show and the finale is Elliot being forced to marry a woman.
Ugh.
So
that was our big
how do you feel
problem
about
that?
Oh, well, let me hear more of what your guys' take on it.
It sucks. It like erases a lot of his identity, and it forces him into this.
Okay, well, let me assure you of this. It's more of a now vehicle for him to explore his identity and explore his responsibilities, and I think that you will be pleasantly. Let me reassure you that Elliot's identity is not going to be erased at all. That it actually, Imagine is more of like a hairpin turner rather than like it's I don't know how to say this without spoiling. He's not.
There's more to it than what we see.
Yes.
We kind of figured that, like, a lot of us, like, that were kind of really into, like, we read all the books and everything. We were just like, no, we have more faith in them than that, but it was still one of those things, like, really in the finale that we were just kind of like...
Yeah, I mean, I think that what you have to remember is that this is a person that's never had to make a sacrifice before. You know what I mean? And I think that what we're looking at is a form of, like, him... This is somebody that's indulged what he wanted all of his life. And since he's escaped his family in Indiana or Ohio or whatever he said he was from, I think that there's something to, and I told Hale to be here today, but he's not. So I would love for him to be able to speak to this more than I'm going to. But I think there is something interesting to him having to, growing up sometimes is doing things that you don't want to have to do. And I think that there's something to that is interesting. And I think as you watch season 2 unfold a year from now, you will, I hope, be mollified.
Yeah, I think people were also just like, in the books, like, Fillory is kind of his point of, like, finding who he really is and being happy with himself, so we're just hoping that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think that happy with yourself, once that happens, I think our show's done. So I think that it's a little early for us to be happy with ourselves quite yet.
And that was one of the things that Lev said. When we interviewed him, we asked him, like, basically, it seems like you really love Elliot as a character, and he's a very beloved character. Why was there so little of him comparatively in the books? And he said, well, Elliot's story was kind of done by the end of the first book, and that makes it like he had grown into himself, and that made it hard to continue featuring him.
You have to have a journey, right? You can't, if you reach the destination early. I think that, I think that everyone keeps being put in places, and I'll speak for Penny now. I'll transition to Penny, so I feel more comfortable talking about him than other characters.
Yeah,
sure, that's fair.
But I think that we're constantly being put in situations where we are growing. How do we be comfortable with who we are? And there's a lot that happens. And I think that Fillory and for all of the characters, Margot, myself, Alice, is all a part of that, finding out how to be who we are.
All right, I'm going to turn the stage over to Dani. We have a bunch of, like, really fun rapid-fire questions.
Just, like, quicker. Let's get that one.
You should know this about me, though. I have a propensity to monologue, so I don't know that I'll ever give a short answer to a quick question, but I'll try.
I'm the same way. I have to explain myself for everything. Like, I feel like I'm constantly just like, this is why. So, first one, what's your favorite movie?
Oh, that's a quick question? What's wrong with people? I don't know. Favorite movie?
Like, off the top of your head, like, first thing.
No. Okay.
I mean, mine's a quick answer.
Okay, I'll tell you my favorite childhood movie.
Okay, go for it.
There's two. I can't even give you just one. I'm going to give you two.
Well, you are an actor.
Cool Runnings, Cool Runnings. If you haven't seen Cool Runnings, go fix your life. 2, Eddie. I don't know why. I just loved Eddie. I kept watching Eddie multiple times with Whoopi Goldberg. Ugh, Whoopi. All right, go ahead. Next question.
Okay. Favorite book?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, I'm not even going to answer that. No, there's too many.
Okay, how about favorite book you read in the last year?
Favorite book okay, well, there's actually this, this isn't necessarily the same thing, but an untethered soul.
Who's what?
An untethered soul. The Untethered Soul. It's a book about spirituality and meditation and Hinduism, and that's probably the one I'm gonna throw out there.
Sounds fun. I like books like that. All right.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to everything right now. It's really funny. I'm deep into French rap right now, and so
can you rap for us?
There's not. No, I'm not gonna rap French rap for you.
No.
I'm going. So there's been a lot of that. There's been a lot of Stromae. But I also just I love on my Spotify that I'll discover weekly, and because I've been listening to so much French rap and Cuban music, because when I got back from Cuba, I had a list of songs that I'd seen that. So now there's a lot of Spanish and Cuban music and French music that comes up there. Yeah.
Just everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but right now it's a lot of French rap. Yeah, that's what's happening in my life right now.
All right. What are you binge watching right now?
What am I binge watching right now? I'm not actually binge watching anything. I've been watching movies and stuff. Chris. Yeah, I can say this. Fuck it. No, can I? Sure. But take it with grains of salt or whatever. But Chris Fisher recommended us a bunch of movies to watch for the next season, and one of them was Santa Sangre. So I was watching that. I've just been watching a bunch of movies actually, because I feel like when I have a break, I can binge watch things and I'll go, man. That'll be my weekend. But the problem is I have work to do now that we're shooting, so I can't I have to be able to either have something that's really contained, so it's a movie, which works really well for me, or something I've already watched a number of times, so I can pick and choose. So Friends becomes comfort food television. It's 30 minutes. I know which episodes. I'm oh yeah, let's watch that one. That one feels fun. So
yeah,
that's that answer for you.
Who do you look up to?
A lot of people. I'm really fortunate that I have a ton of mentors and teachers in my life. My nanny, I was just in DC with my nanny, so I'm going to throw her out first. She's somebody that I get to talk. I talk to her once a week. She's still teaching me how to be an adult and how to be a man. I have people in my acting coach, who's a huge part of my life. Actually, Magali Uidashi, who's my costume designer, become one of my dear friends, and who's the wise mother of us all. Here at the Magicians, Anna Devere Smith, somebody. I mean, there's so many people. Edie Falco, I look up to. There's too many people I look up to.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good thing, though.
My parents. Did I not say them? Yeah, they're important.
What's the coolest thing that you did in the last month?
Cuba. Oh fuck, month. Coolest thing I did in the last month. What'd I do in the last month? What's this? This is June. Oh, probably driving up here. Driving up to Vancouver was probably the coolest thing, and getting to see some of that nature and just kind of taking that time. That little solo road trip part was pretty amazing. I don't know if it was the coolest thing, but that's what I'm going to say right now. Yeah.
Well, piggybacking off that, what was your favorite stop?
What was my favorite stop?
Yeah, on the road trip.
There was one spot, I have no idea, it was on the 101, and I just, it was just like, got to sit on the rocks, and I was looking out onto the ocean, and there was like, I'll post this photo in a couple days. It was like I don't know, it was fucking gorgeous. I just got to sit there for like 20 minutes and just be in awe of the natural wonder that is this world.
That's a good one.
I think it was like it was somewhere in Oregon, close to Coos Bay. Yeah, it was definitely in Oregon, along the Oregon coast. The Oregon coast is fuck.
It's really gorgeous.
Good. That was good. Those were good fucks. That wasn't clear.
Are you a part of any fandoms? Like how we are in The Magicians?
What does that mean?
Like, have you ever like engaged in like a fandom, like where you talked with people, like either like online or in person, about like something like a fandom that you're really passionate about?
And I think we spend a lot of time thinking about and analyzing the sort of the movie or book or whatever beyond what's just written or film.
Yeah, I do that. I haven't really done a ton of that online because, as you all know, I'm not really technologically that great. Like, I'm learning Twitter now. I Snapchatted last night. I hated it. Fuck, Snapchat's the worst. But
I only like the stupid filters.
Yes, yeah. I don't like the filters.
They're like emojis for you, right?
Ugh, fuck. I like that you remember that, though, Claire.
Yeah, that was one of my first conversations with you, is your emoji hate.
I hate emojis.
Because Hale loves them and you hate them.
Oh, right. Hale, yeah, fuck. And then he, like, does it to spite me. He'll just send me texts that are all emojis, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do with
Have
this.
you seen the new iMessage update? Like, it hasn't come out yet, but the way that they're gonna do it is, like, you can literally just send, like, emoji conversations and, like, add in weird, like, emojis, and it's gonna be insane.
I removed emoji from the emoji keyboard from my phone. That's how little I wanted in my life. You asked me a question, though, and I didn't answer it.
Yeah, we asked if you were part of any fandoms.
Yeah, I can't say online that I am.
Well, were you, like, really big into, like, Harry Potter or anything like that?
Yeah, what I do, my fandom comes in as, like, I get really impatient, so I go and I read all the spoiler, like, the speculation.
No!
Like, I like to read all that shit. Like, okay, when I watched Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, yo, I need to know who this motherfucker is, like, who's his pops.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's
I kept kind of like that kind of stuff. And I don't always find it because I don't go that deep.
I've definitely done that. Like, something that's like 7 seasons long, I'm like, I want to know who ends up together. And I
remember when so I'd never read Lord of the Rings growing up. I just never read it. And then I watched the first movie, and I was like, whoa, this is, I'm
going to plug
all
in.
Good?
What's up?
Your computer's about to die. She's plugging in.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I got you. But I never, I finished the first movie, and then I went in and immediately bought the books and finished all the books. Because I was like, not waiting. I gotta know. I'm very impatient.
That was me with Game of Thrones, except I didn't fully read them. I just, like, totally just spoiled the crap out of myself with, like, Wikipedia.
Right. That makes sense.
But then I did go back and, like, read them eventually, but I was like, I need to know everything.
Yeah. There was, like, some study people did that, like, if you read the last page of a book or whatever, there's, like, people have anxiety about reading.
Yeah. That's interesting. All right, let's do some. These ones I think are going to be even quicker questions.
Yeah.
Truly quick ones.
Wait, I want to ask the one you skipped.
What one did I skip?
The very beginning.
What?
Go for it, Claire. Do it.
All right.
Oh, I don't want.
As Penny, with the other magicians' characters, marry, boff, kill.
Didn't we do this last time?
No, we did that as you.
Oh. Okay, so it's Penny.
As Penny.
As Penny.
And you can pick any
All
of the
right.
characters.
Yeah.
What do you choose?
Like marry, F, kill.
Okay, who I'd marry, who would I fuck, who would I kill? Well, I'd kill Quentin, obviously.
I knew that.
Actually, would I? That's a really good question.
You might keep him alive.
Who would I
him.
fuck? Probably Margot. Penny would probably fuck Margot. And then who would he marry? Probably Alice, if I had to choose.
Yeah.
So I'm going with. That's Penny.
Sounds legit.
Oh wait, I did want to ask if you could have like any actor under the sun, like any actor on the show, who would it be?
Like who would star in it or
guest star?
Yeah, guest star.
My first thought was Don Cheadle. I've loved Don Cheadle forever. I would love. I don't know who you would play. I don't know. Like I'm not even choosing from like who fits into the universe, but like Don Cheadle, Anna Devere Smith. I love working with her. But I'm gonna do somebody I haven't worked with. Yeah, I'm going Don Cheadle.
That's a good one. As a fandom, we actually have all decided that we really want Sebastian Stan, plays the Winter Soldier in Captain America, to play Jollibee, because he can show up for one episode and die in one episode. And that would
Who
be really
Jollibee?
great. Huh?
In the third book? Second
It's
book.
the very beginning of the second book. He literally, it's when they see the hair, right? The hair, and he picks up the hair and dies. He literally shows up for like one scene. Quentin hates him. Everybody else is lusting after him, and he dies. And he's supposed to be some legendary hunter, so it's just really funny.
There you go. I'll get on it. I'll talk to the powers that be.
You should. I think I'm gonna tell Lev that I want him to play him, and that's what we demand as a fandom. Because he could be like guest starring, and then he literally dies in one episode, and it would be great.
It'd still probably blow the entire budget of it.
No, I don't think he's that famous. Like, I mean, he was on Once Upon a Time. Like,
that's true.
He was also in this Kings.
Kings was great. Kings was great, and Political Animals is really great. If you haven't watched that.
Ian McShane, definitely get him on our show.
I feel like Ian McShane would kill the budget.
That's probably true.
I mean, so would Don Cheadle. Let's be real.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, that's true. We also said we all decided collectively that The Rock should play the Cozy Horse.
Okay. Again, we have the budget for The Rock for sure.
Wait, you never know. Like down the line, a few seasons in, we could do it. Cozy Horse doesn't show up till the end.
Gotta start selling merch. Clearly gotta.
Sure.
We all want merch. Like, that's all we want. Like, we'll throw our money at it.
All right. Now I'll let the powers be know that they have not exploited your guys' money enough yet. So let's.
I want one of those stupid little pop figures of like everybody. Like, that would be
pop
great.
Figures?
You know those like little Funko Pops.
They're like little.
They're like the little vinyls.
If I become an action figure or some sort of figure, or there's a doll that looks like me, I will lose my fucking mind.
We want it.
I want like a game that's kind of like Magic the Gathering, but all like, the magicians.
The Gathering.
Magicians the Gathering. Yeah. That's what we're down for.
All right.
Okay.
I have 11% battery left, and I don't know where my cord is, so or it's upstairs, and I don't really feel like running up for it. So I'm just giving you a heads up on time.
Okay, we have some quick, like the actual quick ones.
Quick, let's do it.
Team Cap or Team Iron Man?
I have no idea.
You don't have a team?
I honestly, people ask me this, I have no idea. I don't really understand what the story behind it is, so I really can't answer that one. I'll watch the movie, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay, morning or night?
Oof, both.
What's your weapon?
Probably night, I guess. Probably night, if I.
Yeah. Weapon of choice?
None.
Love. Your
love.
fists?
Hugs.
Love.
Hugs.
I
heard about the Hug Squad, which isn't a real thing, but I want it to be a real thing.
That sounds like a good squad.
We just go around and give people hugs.
Do you have any pets?
I don't.
Favorite color?
Black?
It's a solid choice. Do you have any pet peeves?
Do I have any pet peeves? Yes.
Yeah, elaborate.
What pet peeve? Anything that, authenticity is a peeve of mine. I mean, that's not really a pet peeve. That's just like a problem for me. Pet peeves. I have a pet peeve around like people that say I miss you, but then like don't say like when are we hanging out?
Yeah.
Like they'll just be like I miss you, and I'm like, okay, sure, but why don't you just like then ask when we can hang out? That's like a weird thing to me.
Yeah, that is weird.
I don't get that. That feels disingenuous.
What was your childhood dream job?
Astronaut.
Solid. Any phobias?
I had asthma and corrective lenses, so I couldn't do it.
Oh. Any phobias?
Any phobias? Sure. I'm not. I don't think this. I don't know what this phobia is, but I don't mind height. I love heights. I get really close when I'm near the edge. So I guess that's falling. Would that be the falling or like the railing thing that I have the phobia around? Also, snakes are not. I don't know if it's a phobia. I just don't like them. They scare me.
They're pretty terrifying.
It is a solid choice. Do you have a man crush?
Do I have a man crush?
Yeah.
Sure. At this moment?
Huh? Yeah.
I guess not at this moment, but I have in the past, sure. Oh, no, not at this moment.
Who have you had in the past?
A man crush on well, I had a man crush on Gotham Chopra, who's a filmmaker. Also Dr. Rowan Soni, who was well, he's kind of Akash's, my co-host on the podcast. It's still his man crush, but I also have a little bit of a man crush on. Those are the ones that are popping up at this moment in time. Idris Elba always is kind of like a continuous man crush.
I think he embodies just crush.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. Idris as a
Doctor Who.
No,
as
not
Bond.
Doctor Who. Bond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's disappointing that I mean, hey, Tom Hiddleston's great. I don't know what you're doing with Taylor Swift, but now I think that's a strange move, Bond, for you. But whatever.
It's very interesting.
People are gonna do what they're gonna do.
And then I guess what's your zodiac sign?
Oh, so this is an interesting. Again, I can't even be quick about this. So I thought I was a Sagittarius for a long time, but then I learned that that a lot of Western dates that are accompanied with zodiac signs are wrong, because Ptolemy came around and he just like set the dates like 2,000 years ago. Yeah. According to the stars, 2,000 years ago, but they've changed a lot since then. And there's the sidereal and there's a tropical calendar of stars. And so according to the sidereal, I'm actually a Scorpio. I was born in Scorpio. So most people are wrong about what their zodiac sign is. But I'm a Scorpio.
A sign ahead of or below.
And supposedly they're used to
your sign behind. Yeah, it's behind. Yeah, it's the one behind you. Unless you're in like the last week of the thing in general. You're pretty much the sign behind.
What's your birthday?
November 28th.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Did you want to ask that one?
I guess a good one would be what's your life goal? Your goal in life.
Make an impact, and try to make some change and help people be. I believe a lot in. I don't know exactly what that looks like. I mean, I think that for me, it feels like it lives around advocating for a space where we're more compassionate with each other, where we, by being more compassionate with ourselves first, and learning. I'm a big proponent of self-awareness. I meditate daily. That's a big part of my life. I have a daily practice, and the things that I've learned, kind of just passing them along.
Well, thank you so much. You've been very generous with your time. Really
of course. I'm surprised. We start shooting tomorrow, so it'll be fun to let you guys know what's popping as it goes on.
Yeah, totally. Do. Let us know if you ever want to do this again. We are happy to do it. There's an endless stream of questions.
Feel free to let your co-stars know that we are available to interview them as well.
I will let them know for sure. And we'll figure out a time to do more questions. I enjoy these kind of questions more than anything because they're actually thought out questions, which is nice.
Yeah.
Well, we like doing it, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
Of course.
And good luck with the first day of shooting tomorrow. Hope
yes.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Break a leg, you have to say.
Break a leg. Break a leg. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye.